You are now listening to the Dad Rules Podcast with your hosts, Mario E. and
Welcome
Kid.
back, everybody, to another episode of the Dad Rules Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mario E. Got my other co-host here with me, Kid. What is going on?
Not much, man. Glad to be here. Glad to be alive. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well, man. Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's get it.
All right. So today's topic we got for you to help you dad better is a fool and his money are soon departed. A fool and his money are soon parted. Kid, what do you got? You want to start us off?
Yeah. I think like what you were saying right there is basically like, and I know I get caught up in it. I'm sure you have before too. As a father, you know, it's a lot of responsibility on us, you know, take care of our wives and take care of our children. And I think a lot of men, whether it's true or not, they feel like that sometimes they're worthless if they are not providing. What good are you if you can't provide as a man? And I've, you know, seen a lot of women, which is a good thing to say, no, we still love you, you know, regardless of what you're able to do and what you're not able to do or whatever. But I think as men, we just feel like that's what we're supposed to do. And that can become a priority in our lives where we have to provide by any means necessary. And sometimes I look at even how some guys will do even things that are illegal. And
to provide.
Yeah, and it's like no matter what the consequences are of that, like I know we've always, you know, we like crime films and we've watched drug movies and things like that. That stuff just, I don't know, man. It's something about watching, you know, Paid in Full or something like that. It's like you get something, it's fascinated with it, give you some type of rush. I mean, Paid in Full was a great movie. But I mean, we grew up watching that stuff, and it was just always something about me that the consequences just didn't match up with the glory that came with it. But some guys, it just doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to provide or do what I got to do so my family can have what they need or so I can have what I need. And I think sometimes we put that as a high priority in our lives, that we have to make sure that our families are taken care of. And even from a legitimacy standpoint, a lot of us, we, you know, finished high school, got a trade or went to school for 4 years and got a degree, all to get a job to help secure the financial future of our families. And we spend our whole lives a lot of times, you know, working to retirement and making sure our families have what they need. And we sit here and we work. And it's all to provide a better life for our families. But I think sometimes we don't really realize that when we're dead and gone, that's not something that our family's gonna think about. Man, Daddy sure did make a whole lot of money. They're not gonna think about that. Quite frankly, they're not gonna really think about those times that, like my son, I don't think I just man, he made me so proud the other day. He got his teacher messaged us and talked about how good he did on some of his testing and some of his end of the year testing. And she talked about how like great he did. And, you know, he just missed just a few questions on it. And I mean, it just made me really proud. And I had actually bought him this toy he had been asking for. I had bought it for him for his birthday, which is at the end of the month.
Okay.
But when she texted us out of the blue like that, I told my wife, I said, honey, I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and just give him this, you know, so we can, you know, make sure that he realizes that we really appreciate him doing his best in school.
Yeah.
And even with that, I mean, he was very excited, but like do you think that he's really gonna cherish those moments? Like one day when I'm gone, do you think he's really gonna cherish those moments where I gave him the El Toro Loco monster truck? Or do you think he's going to cherish those moments where me and him are on the couch and we're wrestling? You know, or when we're sitting, or when I'm taking him to the movie to see The Bad Guys. He wanted to see The Bad Guys the other day. He said, Dad, let's go to the movies. So I just took him. It was just me and him. We just went to the movies, you know. No. Shanika went. Shanika went to this one. But sometimes I do take him to the movies, just me and him. And I think those are the times that he's gonna remember. It's not the money. It's not the money that I'm giving him. It's the time that I spend with him. And my dad picks him up from school because I get off from work a little later. So I went and picked him up from my mom's house. And when I got him in the car and we were driving home, and he said, Dad, where we going? And I was like, Dad got to go to work because I had tutoring. You know, I do some tutoring in the afternoons. Sometimes I bring him with me. And he was like, I don't want you to go to work. Because he knows that I go to work in the mornings.
Yeah.
So I said, well, where you want me to go? He's like, I want to go home. He said, I want you to go home. I want mommy to go home. So that's his way of basically saying that I want to spend some time with y'all.
Exactly. That's exactly what he's saying.
So, you know, I think about that. I think about that. I'm like, you definitely can't put money over time spent with your family, and like times that I know that I'm going to be busy on the weekends. Because as dads, man, we got to provide, bro.
Yeah.
We got to. It's just certain things he doesn't understand, that dad has to take care of the mortgage, dad has to take care of the car payment. Dad has to buy him clothes. Dad has to get ready for the new baby sister. You know, I got to go out here. I got to make money. But times that I feel like that I have a busy weekend ahead of me where I'm not going to be able to be at the house all day, I do take that time during the week and say, maybe on Thursday or something like that, I might say, hey, honey, let's go out to eat and let's go to the movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we go out to the movies, it's not seeing adult films anymore. The films that we want to see, it's really going to see his cartoons and movies that he wants to see.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But yeah, don't be a fool for money. And I think a lot of times too, even from an investment standpoint, I think we get caught up into working for money and not letting money work for us. I think a lot of us are making enough. Well, I'm not saying a lot. I will not say a lot, but I think a certain percentage of us are making enough money that we can start letting money work for us. And when money works for us, then that's time that we can spend with our families and not have to physically be out there grinding and getting it. And you work and you build up this empire and everything. That's what you're so determined to do. But then you got to think, one day you're going to close your eyes, and wherever you go, whatever your faith tells you that you're going to go after death, you can't take money with you. That's how I feel about it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I kind of expected you to go a little different way with the topic. You were kind of mainly focusing on like the hustling of the money, getting the money or whatever. You know, what I wanted to do was kind of talk about, once we get the money, what do we spend it on? That's one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about. You know, when I think about the topic, right, and you know, it's something that's it's a constant teaching lesson that I try to use with my son. You know, it's need versus wants. Okay. you know, and even at my age now, you know, I battle through that myself right now. It's plenty of times it's things that I want, but do I really need it? Could I use my money more wisely or put it somewhere else that's a better choice?
Yeah.
Uh, you know, a scene off Baby Boy has always kind of stuck with me. It was the scene where Ving Rhames' character was telling Jody, uh, you know, about guns and butter. You know, guns, you know, those are things that, you know, when you buy them, you know, they appreciate with value. You know, they go up. You know, it's valuable. You know, he's talking about real estate. He's talking about stocks and bonds and all that stuff, artwork. You know,
Yeah.
and then some people want to spend their money on butter. And he was saying those are the things that depreciate with value: jewelry, cars, all those types of things. Now, I'm not knocking any of those things because you need a vehicle, you know, you need to wear clothing or whatever and all that stuff. But, you know, I can tell you, I know, speaking from personal experience, you know, I know back in the day, you know, I wanted to have every pair of new Jordans that came out, you
Yeah.
know, every pair of new phone posits that came out, you know,
Me
and, you
too.
know, not afraid or, you know, very willing to drop, you know, 200 plus on them, you know, because it was exclusive, because they was hard. And it was like, yo, I got to have these, you know.
Mhm.
And, you know, this is just something you do. Now it's kind of like, whoa, you know, I don't need that new pair of Jordans that come out. You know, these shoes over here are just as nice and just as stylish, but they are, you know, a third of the price, you know, and, you know,
And more comfortable.
and more comfortable. Yeah, that's a whole nother issue, you know. But yeah, man. So it's and so it for me, it's about teaching my son, you know, those same principles, you know, uh, you know, do you need to have this new, you know, for him, it used to be Legos, you know, not so much, definitely not so much anymore because he's getting older, but, you know, it had to be, you know, some new Lego set. Do you really need the Lego set? I understand you want it, but do you need it? You could save it and do other things. Now, you know, he's more into, you know, his own personal style, and, you know, so he wants to buy the nice looking shoes and the you know, he likes wearing hoodies and sweats and stuff, and so he wants to buy those types of things, and that's fine, you know. But is it things that you need, or is it things that you want? And
Right.
so it's those things as well. You know, as fathers, we should be making sure we're also trying to set a good example, you know, for our kids. And, you know, I also think about, you know, if your kids are seeing you, you know, and I'm not throwing shots at anybody, but if you're squandering your money on things that probably mean nothing, you know, if you're not, uh, uh, you know, if you, I'm gonna make the example really, really extreme to not, you know, uh, make it seem like I'm coming for a certain person or a certain group of people. But if you got 5 people living in a 1 bedroom apartment, you know, it's you and your girl and your 3 kids, you living in a 1 bedroom apartment. Oh, but you got, you know, a new Mercedes out front, and, you know, Jordan's on your feet and Jordan's on everybody's feet, and, you know, you wearing Gucci and Balenciaga and all this stuff. I mean, is that the right decision you need to be making? I
No.
say no, but if you cool with it, you do what you want to do.
Right.
But, you know, just how some people think, man, you know,
I
they
just
about
don't
the
get it,
show.
bro. I just
Yeah,
don't
and
get it.
about the show to appear to be wealthy or rich or whatever, but, you know, you really don't have anything to show for it. And, you know, I think it's much more wise to really have something, to really have, you know, some money in a bank, or to really have some good investments, you know,
Yeah.
something that you could really pass on to your children one day, instead of just, you know, fronting,
Yeah.
or, you know, trying to stunt for the gram, you know, like you do. You know, I think your
Right.
kids will respect that a whole lot more than, uh, you know, having the newest. For example, I use myself, you know, I rented a car last year when I had to go to Houston, and I rented the car they ended up giving me at the Enterprise place was an Audi Q3, and that's the small one, right? And so then immediately I'm looking, I'm like, how much is this Audi Q8? And I could afford one. I could get one right now if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But the price tag on it ain't cheap. You know, I could really get, you know, a much lesser SUV, you know, that could end up doing some of the same things for a lot less, you know. So that's a need versus a want. I really want that, you know, the Q5, the Q8, but do I need it? So it's just one of those things where, you know, I know myself, I struggle with, you know, need versus want. And I know other fathers probably do too, you know, but, you know, hey, you know, just like in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know, I remember Robert Kiyosaki saying in that, you know, how can I, you know, what can I do with my investments and my money to where I can get that and to where it's not, you know. So yeah, those are things you need to look at though, man.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at, you know, a fool and his money is soon parted, because, you know, as the saying goes, you know, if you're foolish with your money, you'll soon be broke.
Yeah.
And who wants to be broke?
Nobody. I mean, to me, it just comes down to assets and liabilities. You know, what's going to put money into your pocket. And I just feel like sometimes when you're spending money in your life savings and stuff like that, and when you're putting them into assets, a lot of times you don't really have a lot of like cash to go do the senseless stuff. To me, I just haven't had the luxury to do both. It's either you're going to waste money or you're going to invest money. That's kind of how it has been for me. I can't be out here wasting money and then still invest money. It doesn't work like that. I had to put all my marbles in the same basket when it comes to this. You're either going to invest and build for later, or you're going to spend money and live in the now. And I choose to invest and live later, because I don't want to be 60 years old and not having money coming in, or that I have to go to a job every day. If I want to go to a job at 60, I'm doing it because I want to do it, not because I have to do it. That's just a difference for me. And then those liabilities, like you said, that car, especially if you're getting it, well, even if you pay cash for it, it's going to depreciate. You know, it's going to depreciate in value. So whatever money you did spend on it, it's, you know, it's just, it's going to dwindle down to nothing. If you take that same money and you put it into a house, it would appreciate over time. It's like, it's hard to say. A car is something that we need, but it is a liability, and it's only a few ways that you can really make a car an asset, and that's maybe by putting an advertisement from a business on there, and they paying you $200 or $300 a month to ride around with their logo on your car, or you let somebody use your car and they're paying you to use it. I mean, but who does that? You buy your stuff, you want to ride it. And just like you, I have a dream car too. Is the Lamborghini truck. I really would love to have one, but the price tag on it, it's like, if I have that amount of money, I just can't see myself spending it on it. I just can't. And then too, the other part of it is, you ever felt like that you don't want to look rich? That puts a huge label on you to drive around with that. And some people look at it as a good label because people are, oh man, they got it going on. But then at the same time, it's like, do you really want all that attention on you? And maybe I'm weird in that aspect. I don't really want that attention on me.
Yeah, you know, I travel, you know, quite a bit, you know, for my work. And so it's always funny to me going in the airports, because the airports, you always see people from all walks of life in the airport. And I just think it's like one of those places where, it's a commingling of some of everybody, people who are from United States, who are not from the United States, people who may be rich, some people who may be poor, people who are single, who are married, people who are, different races. I just think it's always interesting to people watch at the airport. And now this isn't always the case, but a lot of times, I would think, if you making it a certain money, making it like that, or got it a certain way, you may be sitting in first class. I've been on flights before, and I've seen people who are on TV, or you may call them famous or semi-famous or whatever, or well-known, and they're sitting in first class or whatever and stuff. What they have on is just as regular as, they not, dressed any different than you or I. And if you saw them out in public, you wouldn't even think anything of it, And so, yeah, it's a way you can be, very wealthy, but just still unassuming. Every time I've ever seen Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Oprah on TV, they're not dressed like extravagantly, except maybe Oprah, if she's at like some awards ceremony or something, you may put on a gown.
Yeah, she ought to come
but
up.
But I'm just talking about, like, if you just see them just on a TV interview, they're not wearing stuff that's like, the highest fashion,
Yeah.
And so it's people that, like, if you didn't really truly know who they were and you just ran into them at the mall, or you ran into them at the grocery store, at the supermarket or something, you just say, oh, it's just a regular person. You wouldn't think that that's who they are. They were some billionaire or whatever,
Yeah. And it made me really think, like, there are a lot of rich people out here that live like poor people.
Mm.
There are a lot of poor people that live like rich people.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be somebody that's wealthy and look like, I don't have it all.
Right.
Than to be poor and trying to look like I'm wealthy. I just and then I made me think too, is like, when you do have these actions and stuff like that, and I want my kids to look nice. Don't get me wrong. When they go to school and stuff like that, I want them to look really nice. I want them to have nice stuff. I don't want them to be, I feel like that helps with their confidence as well too.
Yeah.
When they can look nice, and, when people look at them a certain type of way, I think it helps build their confidence in themselves. You always want to be presentable. But if you are not showing your children by your everyday spending how they should be moving, you're just sowing seeds of financial irresponsibility. And if we don't teach our kids financial literacy, then they're just gonna keep on planting those same seeds of that financial irresponsibility. And it doesn't matter how much money you make, it doesn't matter how much money you leave them. If you don't teach them how to handle it, they're gonna lose it.
It's true.
And I mean, just look at the people that win the lottery. Yeah. Look at a lot of people that live, they win the lottery, and then next thing you know, they're broke. There's been plenty of athletes that have had millions upon millions of dollars, and now they don't have a dollar to their name right now. Yeah. And it's because it's easy come, easy go. And if you don't know how to handle it, and that's the bigger picture of it. That's really the bigger picture of it, is people, especially like, I'm talking about big money, billionaires that own these industries and organizations and teams and stuff like that. Sometimes, look, I'll give you 20 million. I'll give you 20 million. That's fine, because you don't know how to manage that. Mm-hmm. So you're not gonna increase this. You're gonna lose it, because everything you're gonna do, you're gonna tell, first thing you're gonna do, mama, you ain't gotta work no more. you know. Then next thing you know, you paying 10 and 12 cell phone bills. And then you taking everybody on lavish vacations and stuff. Man, look, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I know you don't like bills, but yeah, man, a lot of those liabilities. Hey, I remember going out somewhere with you. Was like, man, I don't like no payments, man. And I was like, bro, payments, man. Like, man, it's all part of life, man. Like sometimes you gotta have a payment. And he's like, man, I don't like no payments, man. And I was just like, yeah, but a lot of times those liabilities they're tied to payments. I mean, that stuff like your cell phone bill that you're gonna have it for the rest of your life, but don't have unnecessary stuff. And then too, even like with furniture and stuff, people they spend a lot of money on furniture because they make it sound really good. They give you a price and say, hey, you don't have to pay this amount, and then you get everything that you want, and you paying this set amount and stuff like that, and it can really get you caught up.
Yep.
But you start doing that a few times, and then now your cash flow is off. Like you don't have money left over. You know what I'm saying? Because you got your bills so high, and a lot of times with our income, as our income goes up, our expenses go up. Oh, now we can afford HBO Max, or now I can afford this payment. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean that you should get it.
Yep.
And
go back to what I was saying, versus one.
Yep. Yeah. That's even with buying a house, man. They'll tell you, well, you qualify kid for $750,000 home. But when you know good and well that $250,000 home will do you well.
Exactly right.
So, I mean, but it's hard. It's hard because, we all like nice things and our eyes get big, and you really have to, I can't say that I have, I guess, conquered that or mastered it where I don't want things, but I know how to manage my needs and wants. And I don't know, just as a father, man, I don't really even focus on the things that I want so much. I'm more of a vacation guy.
Mm-hmm.
I can make money and take my family on vacation, when I want to go. Those are the things I pay that much attention to, but I just don't pay attention to the fancy stuff. Not like I used to.
Right.
That stuff don't drive me. The things that drive me is making sure that we got enough money to live our day-to-day lives with enough cash flow and be able to go on vacation when we want to go on vacation. And give them everything that they need.
And going on those vacations create memories, man. So
I think that's the thing that I blow. I'll blow money on vacation. Some people feel like that's a liability, and if so, I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey tell you don't go. You know what I'm saying? But those are some books that we want to tell you guys. If you're a father and you're concerned about finances and stuff like that, make sure you check out Rich Dad Poor Dad. Make sure you check out The Millionaire Next Door. And I don't think it's a bad idea to check out Dave Ramsey's book too. I don't agree with Dave Ramsey's principles on everything, but I do agree with him talking about paying things off and not accumulating, credit card debt and things like that. But The Millionaire Next Door, reason I say that is because that book actually breaks down. They interview several millionaires and how they live. Because the reason I feel like that book is so relevant today is because with social media, people really feel like that millionaires live a certain type of way. Like you said, like millionaires are buying Balenciaga clothes, and they have these $1 million houses, and they always have the luxury cars and stuff like that. And it talked about like the most common car that millionaires have, and like one of them was like Ford Explorer, was like one of the most popular cars for millionaires. You have to understand actors and entertainers live a different lifestyle than the average millionaire does. People that work for their millions and they made millions, they don't live like that.
Right.
But that's the misconception, because it's a small percentage of millionaires that live like that.
Right.
Most of them don't do that. But it talked about all that. It talks about all of the things that the type of houses that they live in. And you would think that they're living in gated communities. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yep.
They're not. And it even talked, and that was the beauty of it too. It even talked about doctors. He would use one example from a doctor here, Dr. such and Dr. such and such over here. And it talked about how one was financially responsible and then the other one was not financially responsible. And basically how the other one was like what they spent their money on and stuff like that, that they really weren't getting ahead. And then how the other one was more conservative and he was actually getting ahead and he was really making a lot of money, you know. So it doesn't matter how much money you make if you continue to make bad decisions. Financial literacy, I mean, as far as financial literacy, you're still going to struggle.
Yeah.
Everybody, no matter what class you're in, you need financial literacy. Period.
Yep. That's a big fact.
So, but I like that. It's a good conversation. I like talking about money. Like
who does?
But yeah, but you got anything else?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for listening to the Dad Roots podcast with Mario E and Kid, and we'll check you guys next time. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Rules podcast with your host, Mario E and Kid. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Breaker, and Player FM. Till next time.